out there. And again, cars are coming at absolutely flat chat racing speed into the braking area where there are yellows for a couple of flag posts before it. And that is not smart driving.
We can't see how fast they're going. I mean, they're going fast.
Look across the other side of the circuit, Jeremy. They are going at full race speed.
That's the problem.
They're not going at anything other than full race speed. And that car is not moving. This looks to be our 6th full course caution any second now. Let's get the binos out and see if I can see the Audi safety car getting ready to roll.
Yeah, there's 4 different safety cars they're going to use during this race.
Yellow.
There we go.
Full course yellow.
Four different safety cars they're going to use during this race.
Okay.
There's the Audi, the Lamborghini, the Porsche, and what am I missing? Audi, Lamborghini, Porsche, and
BMW.
BMW. Thank you very much.
It's like a North London Sports Day. Everybody gets a turn at the front. Well done. Hello to Velosuds, who is mowing the lawn at the moment. Wish the push mower had 7 more cylinders and a better aero kit. Very good. So our 6th full course caution for a stranded race car. And yeah, it's exactly the same again. There was contact with the wall, left rear to the wall. On the downshift in under braking, it's bodywork damage and query left rear suspension damage to the 88 car.
You see the Meg there on the rear wing. That's Mark Kawami's wife. And it's her company, the whiskey company, that's the primary sponsor there on that car. Mark's in this car, the Starbucks car, for the entire season. We're driving with Ashley Freiberg for the sprint races.
Yeah.
And Mark's revolved that car around. He's a kind of venture capitalist, all sorts of businessman, let's say, from Columbus, Ohio these days. Originally from Southern California. He was doing some good lap times yesterday. The team, the other guys on that team were very, very impressed. Felix Rosenquist and Sean Johnston and Mauro Engel. So he's got 3 really good co-drivers there. They've had a couple of little niggles earlier on, of course. Well, they had a big shunt, didn't they, with the pit lane with Sean Johnston, but they were able to get that car back underway again.
Mauro Engel, one of a couple of drivers, is doing the triple of 24 hours of Dubai, 24 hours here at the Rolex, and then 12 hours next weekend at Bathurst at Mount Panorama.
Yeah, the 2-time winner of the Macau Grand Prix. Actually, that car, number 88 car, has the 2 of the drivers. They won 4 races at Macau between the last 2 years. Felix Rosenquist won the Formula 3 race twice, and Mauro Engel won the GT race twice. So that's pretty impressive for one machine. But both of them making their debut here in the Rolex 24 Hours. Speaking to them yesterday, and again, absolutely loving the experience here. Seeing a recap of some of the events earlier on today. The Ford pushed away. One of the Fords pushed away into the garage, but that was back out again later on. So AJ Allmendinger's lead. This is the 5th caution of the race. We're just under an hour since the previous caution period. About 54 minutes.
6th caution.
6th caution indeed.
Yeah.
Did I say 5?
Yeah, you did. It's all right.
6.
So, Rooftop Ray has just popped in to say hello, and he is heading to his perch on the roof. He'll be taking over from 10 o'clock this evening.
A replay of Joao Barbosa making a very rare mistake earlier in the race.
Are you sure that was Joao Barbosa? My goodness.
Yes, it was right at a restart there. Just talking of mistakes, that was one from John Pugh, who got perhaps some assistance behind, but certainly he cannoned into the back there of Luis Felipe Derani, and Derani did a good job to keep that car under control.
Some right rear punctures for some of the GTLM cars, and then Andy Murray, of course, in the Delta Wing in turn 1, not hearing the call from the spotter, and cannoning into a stationary PC car at turn number 1. There was the turnaround, Jeremy, you asked about the O2 car.
Yeah, for Jamie McMurray driving the car. I mean, he did an absolutely magnificent job, I think, Jamie McMurray. Really, really impressed.
Well, I'm not surprised. He's been here a few times now. He knows the place, and you know he builds and races his own karts.
Yep, no.
He knows which way's up.
Right.
He knows which way's up.
Yep.
Had pleasure of spending one of the years that I wasn't working here, but still here. Spent quite a lot of time with Jamie and Dario, who's here. Dario Franchitti here. As well as part of the Chip Ganassi Ford racing team. And Jamie, very much a student of road racing. Had a great character as well, I would say. Good guy to spend time with. Well, just between the W and the O of World Centre of Racing, if you're watching the pictures, is where our booth is. We're enshrined in darkness at the moment so that we can see out without any reflection, and indeed race control to our left, and the spotters, some of the spotters to our right, all doing the same thing. Spotters not up on the roof these days, or at least some of them aren't. They are sitting in the front rows of some of the press box area off to our right in this brand spanking new facility, which by the way is outstanding. So we have got pit lane callers as the pits are open for prototypes. Let's head down to Jim Roller first of all.
Yeah, the 5 car is the first one to make it to his pit box. He's in pit box number 2. The 31 comes in right behind him. So the 2 Action Express entries will take their service. The number 10 car comes through to make his pit stop. The 5 is away. That was fuel and tires only. No driver change. Same with the 31. Fuel and tires only. The 10 car is the same. Tires are done. Fuel's going in.
To the opposite end of pit lane, Joe Bradley.
Yeah, it appears that Jim's got all the action up his end. Just make my way back up to Jim's end. The 60, the Michael Shank Racing entry, has just changed driver. I'm sure I just saw AJ Allmendinger bouncing out of the car and over the pit wall. I'm going to dash up there and try and get a word. But it seems all the prototypes that I've chosen to pit have pitted. They're now being held at pit out. There's a queue of about 4 cars, which you guys will be able to see. Just being joined by one of our PC runners. 5 cars now just waiting for the go-ahead. Now they're being given it, and then they can join on to the back of the train behind the pace car.
Well, if AJ Allmendinger has got out of that car, Jeremy, that's a change of tactics for the 60, because he's only been in there, what, 10 or 11 laps, if that?
No, he's done longer than that. AJ got in on lap, where are we? At 8, he's done about an hour and a half. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so 2 stints with a caution.
Since his last pit stop, though, when was he last?
15 laps, lap 204.
Yes, okay, so
right,
okay.
More than halfway through a fuel stint, so definitely
okay.
Smart move to bring that car onto pit lane.
And Allmendinger out of that car. We'll find out who's got in for you. I would have thought it was Osnegra, yeah.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
In fact, yes, it is. Had we but looked at the onboard, we could have told you that. Too busy looking at the timing screen to wait for that to update. We'll get the GT cars coming in a moment. Earl Bamber leads Kevin Estret. The number 911 in second. The 912 leading. Mike Rockenfeller still in third in the number 3 Chevy Corvette from James Collado in fourth in the 72 Ferrari from Kuno Whitmer, who is now behind the wheel of the BMW number 100 in fifth. Ollie Gavin in sixth behind the wheel of the number 4 GM Chevy Corvette. Seventh, Tony Vielander, 62 Ferrari. And those are all of the cars on the lead lap of GTLM, the top 7. So bear that in mind for when we get those cars for a potential pit stop in a moment or two's time, although most of those cars have been out for barely 10 laps, so it may just be that they'll bother coming back into the pits with the guys only just settling into their run. Good evening to Johnny Palmer, who's rejoined us tonight.
Yeah, good evening, John.
Enjoying this?
Oh, just a bit, yes.
It's extraordinary, this race.
It's phenomenal. It is phenomenal stuff. I haven't been able to draw myself away. You know, I haven't been on air for a little while, but I've been down on the infield watching for a little bit, and in the media centre as well. And even when I was shoveling food into my what's the polite word for it? Mouth. I'll go for it. Marion's. I was still glued to the TV screen. It's very, very difficult to tear yourself away from this because the fights in all 4 classes are so intense. Can't quite believe 220 laps have been and gone. And
Yes.
I'm busily working on a spreadsheet to try and work out how far we need to go to get to the record distance, which was set in 1982, by the way, not on this exact configuration of circuit, because it changed in 85, but 2,700 odd miles is the record.
Scuderia Corsa have come in GTD. Ford number 66 comes in. But the leading Porsches, Bamba, Estra, stayed out. So did Rockefeller, so did Collado. Let's go down to Jim. Well, Jim, they're going past you. These are all going down to Joe Bradley's end. Joe?
Well, I have plotted up for a word with AJ Allmendinger, and I'm just waiting for his debrief to come to a conclusion with Michael Shank, and then we'll dive in and get a word with him.
Meantime, the 33 Viper is down and away. That looked like fuel. Only some very quick pit stops here. The 62 Ferrari, without any in fact, without any lights on at all, goes to the pit lane exit. The brake lights are on, but there's no illumination on the side panels for the numbers. And I think when the headlights have now come on, but they're certainly not illuminated on the right-hand side. 66 Ford goes out. WeatherTech Porsche goes out. And Jim Roller can give us some news from his end of the pits.
All routine with the Ford. Just topped up the gas.
Well, that's a first. I think that's the first time in a while, Jim, we've been able to say that about a Ford pit stop. So they'll be breathing a sigh of relief on that one. XM203, Sirius 145, and of course FM 107.9 around the circuit. IMSA app and our syndicated websites and partners in sound and vision through the nighttime hours, uninterrupted from flag to flag, the whole 24 hours only here on IMSA Radio and IMSA TV. And a reminder that the rest of the WeatherTech, the IMSA WeatherTech Championship for 2016, also on the same outlets. And we can proudly say that we will be the only broadcasters trackside for every single moment of the season. You won't miss any of the action. The IMSA app available for Apple, for Android and for Windows devices. Go to your app store. It will cost you nothing at all. We will ask you for a little bit of your details and find out which of our manufacturers you like to support, but we'll never ask you for any money. And then all of the information that we have in the booth and lots more besides will be available to you on your device by just a click or two. It's the IMSA app, and it's available free right now from your app store.
And if you're wondering why there's a few cars at speed there on the racetrack, the reason for that is that after the pit stops are completed, anybody, once again, as before the pit stops, anybody who's trapped within their class between the safety car and the class leader is enabled to pass around and move around to make up that position at the end of that lap. That's enabled Spencer Pigot to get one of these 3 laps back. He was 2 laps back. He lost a third one with another pit stop a little while ago, and he's now back to 2 laps off the pace in car number 55. So it's Tony Kanaan that leads. That's a 19th lead change in the 02 car for Ford Chip Ganassi Racing. His teammate Andy Prio has taken over the wheel of the 01 car. Johannes van Overbeek in third place in car number 2. Then Mark Goosens in car number 90. Felipe Albuquerque in car number 5. Ozzy Negri rejoins in 6th place in car number 60. Then Eric Curran in 31 and Ricky Taylor in number 10 on the lead lap as we go back to green.
Just as we go back to green, get a chance to speak to AJ Allmendinger just out of the number 60, Michael Shank Racing Ligier. Well, AJ, the pace seems to be there.
Yeah, she's pretty sick right now. It's a lot of fun to drive. Just can't thank everybody enough at Onroad for how they developed this Ligier just in the year's time that I've been in it, and Honda HPD for bringing some steam. Everybody at Michael Shank Racing, they've worked so hard, and they got Tire Kingdom on board and Florida Lottery, so to get such big names on such a small team is pretty cool. So far so good. It's a little nerve-wracking. It's almost actually too good right now.
Well, you guys know how to win this race, and it's all about being there in the morning, I believe. I've been told. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's just the car's got a lot of speed in it, so we're just trying to pace ourselves and And, you know, you just got to think about every time you hang a wheel on a curb or you drop a wheel a little bit, that's just that's more wear and tear on the suspension pieces and the race car. So do everything you can just to make sure you stay away from traffic, keep it on the blacktop, and make no mistakes.
Now then, keeping away from traffic, pretty tricky on the restarts. We've seen some absolute chaos out there. What's it like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I was fortunate. The restart I did, I got to set the pace and kind of set my tempo getting into the first lap. But you know what I was really happy about is last year this Ligier really struggled on cold tires, especially compared to the heavier DPs that could really get some heat in the tire. And that first lap was pretty ballistic. I had a decent lead, it looked like, coming down the front straightaway after the first lap. So that right there impressed me and gave me a lot of confidence.
Thanks, AJ.
Well, we've just been watching the onboards of Oz Negri, AJ's teammate, and I actually put my hands over my eyes at one stage as he was going through traffic. Did not have the advantage of being near the front of the line, and he's having to work through the GTLM and GTD fields, which he's doing with some aplomb as he goes down into turn one again. But there's 25, 30 cars, and again, I'm going to make the point, Jeremy, the top speeds and the VMAX of these cars are very similar indeed on the banking. We'll have to see if this is just a Daytona thing when we go to Sebring, Florida in a month's time. 6 weeks' time.
Yeah, true. The P2 car should be really good there. What was I going to say there? I was going to say that Ozzy Negri has just overtaken Felipe Albuquerque on that lap. So kind of a 60 squeezing past number 5 in all that traffic. There he's now up into 5th position again.
Brendan Gunn's just gone through the pits. I didn't see, if I'm honest, whether he stopped at his pits, which I apologise for, but that was the number 20 bar 1 car, 2nd place in the PC category. PC category is becoming a bit of a battle of attrition, not the usual scrap that we see from those guys. People working through problems. If you are just joining us or coming back to our coverage here on IMSA Radio and IMSA TV, as the fireworks start to go off on the back straight, so it's just a little before 10 o'clock here.
We've had fireworks all the way through, haven't we?
We certainly have. That would scare the living daylights out of me if I was to drive and going past that. The big news in PC that the number 54, the core car, has gone out with engine problems and went out very early on, couple of hours ago, maybe a little bit more. That's a championship as well as a race contender for the IMSA WeatherTech Championship 2016. Meantime, Tony Kanaan, thanks very much, just disappeared off after the restart. It's 0-2 from 0-1. Hello, the Fords are starting to come to the fore now, with Andy Prio in 2nd place, but 4 seconds behind his teammate. Johannes van Overbeek in the ESM Patron car in 3rd place, about 1.8 seconds further back than Mark Goosens in the 90. So that car in no strife whatsoever. Interesting to see fastest laps for some of these cars. The 01 did its fastest lap on 196. Albuquerque's car, the 5 on 197. Eric Curran on 197 as well. So there's still plenty of pace out there at the moment as the fireworks continue to head skywards on the far side of Lake Lloyd from where we are. No sign either, I have to say, of the stadium in front of us emptying out. Still plenty of people all the way down right in front of us taking pictures of, oh, there's a pretty blue one, oh, there's a pretty red one. Fireworks on the radio always works for me. Ooh.
Ooh, look at that. Yes, quite, yes.
It's a blue one, it's a red one. Don't worry, I have done that in my long and varied radio career for local radio. I have done that. It will surprise no one to hear. So 5 minutes since the green flag flew. It's Jeremy Shaw, Johnny Palmer and John Hindhaugh in the IMSA Radio booth. And in the Continental Tire pit lane reporters roles for this section of the race, Jim Roller and Joe Bradley. In fact, I should retract that because Shea Adams just rejoined us in the pit lane. Good evening, Shea.
Hello, John. It's up to 6 layers worth of sweaters because we're preparing for the midnight shift where it does get quite cold, but the temperature has dropped appreciably from when the sun was up. We're down at least 10 degrees Fahrenheit since the sun went down, and that was only a few hours ago.
Uninterrupted coverage all the way through to the flag. If you are just joining us, and many of you will be at the end of broadcast TV, then we have been here uninterrupted all the way since the start, and welcome along to IMSA TV and IMSA Radio's coverage. Rooftop Ray is already in position, wrapped up as well. Saw him popping upstairs. He did have his I Respect sunglasses with him. I'm not sure he'll need them at this time of night, but my goodness, did he look cool in them.
And if you heard that noise, then it wasn't an engine expiring. It was the conclusion of the fireworks show here. Meanwhile, I'll tell you who's the fireworks show at the moment. Johannes van Overbeek is charging along here, close right up onto the tail now of Andy Priaulx. That's the battle for second and third. I think that's them coming off through NASCAR 3 and 4 right now on the Super Speedway Oval. Yeah, this is our race leader coming towards us to complete lap 226. And side by side they are for second and third, coming past the stripe.
Oh yes, that is very nice indeed. Round the top, Johannes van Overbeek tries the high side, has to brake just a tad earlier, but he'll try the cutback as the Ford goes slightly deeper into the corner. No. Now that's interesting. This is a complete change from what we saw last year, Johnny Palmer, where the more nimble, what we would have called the more nimble LMP2 cars, had an advantage under braking, but couldn't stay with the DP cars on the banking and in the pacier parts of the circuit. And it seems as though that advantage is, or those advantages have been very much evened out now, and we're seeing a real battle between these two very different iterations and concepts of LMP cars.
Yeah, that Honda-powered Ligier looks certainly like it's very punchy coming out of the corners, the tighter infield corners. Let's have a look at how the two-car gets out of turn 6 and back up onto the banking. Is he able to match the pace of Guernseyman Andy Priaulx? Just about, yeah, there's about probably 5-6 car lengths between them. It's a question of whether Johannes van Overbeek can get close enough to utilise that draft from the big Riley up ahead. So down the back straight they go. The fireworks short and sweet in the end, about 3 minutes worth of them, but they certainly ended with a huge rumble and bang. And working their way through the bus stop then, Andy Priaulx and Johannes van Overbeek, about even Stevens, I'd say, Jeremy.
It seemed to be, didn't it, Johnny? I agree with you. Watching them down the back straight there, there was pretty equidistant all the way down there. Now coming off NASCAR 3 and 4, perhaps he's got a little bit of a run here again, has Durrani, but Andy Priaulx's got good speed as well.
Yeah, getting closer and closer through the tri-oval, and this time is there an inside line? Oh, there was for a moment, but Priaulx covered it off.
It was a half of one.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Not enough. I think Johannes van Overbeek, he's a really sharp cookie. He's done a fantastic job since hopping into the prototypes. He was a
Great.
GT driver for years and years and years and years and years, and you've always said that it's difficult to make the switch from GT cars to prototypes. Well, he's done it magnificently.
Well, Andy Priaulx, of course, well known as a multiple world touring car championship, so he knows how to defend a position, and he's having to do it at the moment. What many people won't know is that Andy started his motorsport career in very powerful and very high downforce single-seaters in hill climb, which is against the clock, straight up the hill. And he transformed himself into a touring car driver. In fact, I saw his debut. It was at Oulton Park.
3.
Yes, via Formula 3. David Grace, an old boss of mine. A lot of faith in Andy. I saw his touring car debut in a front-wheel drive car at Oulton Park, where he plonked the car in pole position.
Did some Renault Spider racing, of course, as well.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Won the
He's
championship.
got a good run here. They're going on to
Oh,
the banking.
oh, this is drama for Felipe
goodness.
Albuquerque. This is the number 5 Action Express, the Mustang sampling car, and he is off the circuit to driver's right at the West Horseshoe. Well, he's got it refired and got on. Amazing how quickly that grass outfield has dried off. There are 1 or 2 sticky patches, but for the most part, that's much drier than I expected to see after the deluge that we had earlier on. Joe Bradley with some news of action down in the pits, or potential action at least, Joe.
Certainly potential action. All of a sudden, the 98 Aston Martin team burst out of their slumber and donned their helmets and balaclavas, and there seems to be some kind of, well, consternation within the team. And we wait here in anticipation of the arrival of the 98 Aston Martin. And then we'll get to the bottom of what's brought it unscheduled back onto pit road, if at all, or whether or not they've rectified the what was an issue reported, I think, by the driver to the team, to the crew chief.
It's Richie Stanaway behind the wheel of that car at the moment, Joe. 6th position in GTD, as Tony Kanaan holds sway at the head of the field by 6.9 seconds over Priaulx and Van Overbeek. Still battling it out for second and third, the 0-1 and the 2. In GTLM, it's the 2 Porsches, 912 and 911, in the hands of Kevin Estre in second place and Earl Bamber leading. Mike Rockefeller's right there as well, you know, and Kuno Whitmer is not that far behind in the number 100 BMW. So the top 4 in GTLM going very nicely indeed.
And James Collado too, and Ollie Gavin's not far back either.
Yeah, so actually the top 6, what am I talking about? In PC, Tom Kimber-Smith is now behind the wheel of the leading 52 PR1 Matheson car. Under no pressure whatsoever at the moment. And in GTD, it's Mirko Bertolotti who is behind the wheel of the 48 Lamborghini that leads.
Side by side again for second position. And once again, it's Andy Priaulx, the experience there, keeping that inside line away from Johannes Van Overbeek, and maintains that position. A little bit farther back there, we see Ricky Taylor has moved past Eric Curran at the battle for 6th and 7th places. So kind of a 10 ahead of number 31. That was a couple of laps ago, and of course yet another mistake there for number 5 car Felipe Albuquerque, now back into 8th position.
Just notice Spencer Pumpelly's popped up into 3rd position in GTD in the Change Racing Lamborghini. It's been a decent run from him in the last stint or so, behind Rennie Rast in 2nd in the 44 Magnus Audi. So it's Lamborghini, Audi, Lamborghini and Porsche, the 23 car in 3rd position. The Team Seattle Heart of Racing car. So that's an interesting spread of manufacturers as well. Now let's see if we can pick up that battle between Priaulx and Van Overbeek as they come back round us. Let's go down to Shea while I get the binoculars out and see if we can get a little bit more news on the number 23 Heart of Racing machines. Shea?
Well, it seemed to me like every time I looked at the timing screen, M. Farnbacher's name was next to it. I went in to check with the team because, of course, no driver can drive more than 4 in any 6 hours. And they said, no, they're just focused on getting him rotated through because, of course, last year it was this race that they scored no points at, which ultimately cost them a chance of winning the championship. They're determined to try and get Mario all the points because of the new driver tethering system that IMSA has put in place. If Mario gets his points, then Ian does too.
Ah, okay, yes, the drivers being tethered together, bungee corded together, if you will. Through the kink and down towards the West Horseshoe, Andy Priaulx still has mirrors full of Johannes Van Overbeek. And as they exit the Horseshoe and head to turn number 6, the 2 very bright sets of white lights go behind the scoring tower for a moment and then head back up onto the banking in stock car turns 1 and 2. There's clear road ahead of them. Priaulx drops down immediately to the yellow line in that 0-1 Chip Ganassi Ford EcoBoost powered car, but here comes the ESM machine, just starts to creep up as they get to the braking area, can't quite get positioned to have a look down the inside as they go through the bus stop and head out onto the second part of the back straight, and again still clear road ahead of them, Jeremy. It's very interesting to see the performance. Here comes the ESM, got to run this time right on the bottom side. Will have to go the long way round into the tri-oval, comes out to the slipstream early, lost the draft now. It'll all be down to the power of that Honda engine against the power of the EcoBoost. It's very tight indeed across the line. There was nothing between them, and still the pass can't be made by Van Overbeek. Van Overbeek was scored in second position as they went across the line, but he can't make it stick because he was on the outside as they turned into the first corner down off the transition. Magnificent stuff again from both drivers. Racing Room asked for and given, and Johnny Palmer, you can't ask for more than that.
No, it's wonderful stuff, isn't it? And you get the feeling it's going to continue almost to the next set of pit stops for these cars. But Andy
Let's hope
Priaulx
so.
has just about got Van Overbeek at arm's length. That's Johannes' best chance, certainly coming out of Speedway Turn 4 and down off the banking into 1.
Yeah, the Leiter car really gets off the bus stop really, really well. And as they're coming out of Turn 5, they're up towards Turn 6, going into Turn 5 is another big battle that's developing. That is between number 90 car, which is driven now by Mark Goossens, and Ozzy Negri, who's closed right in as well. They're coming back up now towards Turn 6, and that is a battle for 4th and 5th places. Not too far behind them is Ricky Taylor. Not too far behind Ricky Taylor is Eric Curran. And then after that, off at the West Horseshoe, Felipe Albuquerque in car number 5.
And Goossens doing exactly the same in the DP, holding the bottom line of the circuit, exactly the same as Andy Priaulx was doing. And Negri's got a better run though, and he's down the inside. He has got position. He will make the pass into the bus stop. I'm absolutely certain it'll be the last of the late breakers, but it is Oz Negri that goes through, and that is the number 60 up into 4th position. Good spot, Jeremy. Picked that one up just as the pass was being made. So now we've got to find the other two. Here they are. They're battling right in front of us. Priaulx will be absolutely loving this, and as we said before, what better preparation for the World Endurance Championship in the Ford GT. Andy Priaulx, a IHG Rewards Club driver and a long-time partner to that programme. Well, what a better, can there be no better, should I say, preparation for that season than having a battle like this and keeping him sharp in terms of his racing skills. Van Overbeek pushing him hard and trying every way he can to get through, but at the moment has nothing for the Guernseyman. Been alongside a couple of times, but not really in a position to make that pass. Got to be in position on the right part of the circuit, on the right side of the circuit, as Oz Negri managed to engineer that. Negri now up into 4th position. Cadan by 5.8 seconds over Priaulx, 0-2 from 0-1 from number 2 Van Overbeek, and 6-0 the Michael Shank racing car of Oz Negri.
Change for 2nd place in GTLM now. We see the number 3 Corvette ahead of the number 911 Porsche. So Mike Rockefeller has found a way past Kevin Estra. Kuno Whitmer is not far behind him at all. And James Collado also, I think, may be closing in as well in the SMP Ferrari car number 72.
Yeah, top 5 coming within 6 seconds of each other. That's a battle we need to pick up. And here they come, I think, across the line now. Got to pick up the Porsches, the one to spot with the 911, the 9. Oh, side by side again, and this time it is a pass by Van Overbeek as he used one of the slow cars ahead as a bit of a pick. Fantastic piece of driving by both of those guys, and indeed the car that they were passing. It is the Scuderia Corsa Ferrari that was unwittingly used. No, it might, in fact, no, it was the 93 Dodge and then the Ferrari that were both used as a helping hand for Johannes Van Overbeek. That was very close indeed. Van Overbeek goes to 2nd, so it's 0-2 from 2 from 0-1, not confusing at all. And Ozzy Negri is closing in. He was 2 seconds at least quicker than all of the cars ahead of him last time around. And the gap now between Oz Negri and the leader under 17 seconds. In GTLM, Earl Bamber leads by 2.7 seconds. The Porsche 912 ahead of the number 3. That's the Chevy Corvette of Mike Rockenfeller. Kevin Estre now down into 3rd position, just a 10th back from Rockenfeller. Then Kuno Whitmer, another couple of seconds back in the number 100 BMW. James Collado, 72.
Right with him.
Right there, absolutely no way to separate those two. And Ollie Gavin, another 5 seconds further back. That's the top 6 in GTLM within 10 seconds. In Prototype Challenge, Tom Kimber-Smith is on a cruise compared to what's happening in every other class. Ahead of Brendan Gordon, who's in 2nd place. He's a couple of laps back in the Bar 1 car. And Kenton Cook is behind the wheel of the 85 car. I think that's the first time Kenton's been in that car.
Yeah.
In GTD, Mirko Bortolotti leads for Paul Miller Racing in the Lambo. Spencer Pumpelly up into second now, ahead of Rene Rast in third. 48-16-44 in GTD, and they're only separated by, what, 13 seconds. So plenty of excitement.
Brilliant stuff. It just is so cool, isn't it?
A comment. Please say something.
I'm still trying to work out distances at the moment, whether we can push for an outright distance record, because we've done pretty well as far as avoiding cautions are concerned. I feel, anyway, some lengthy green flag running. It's 10:15 at night. Jeremy touches me on the shoulder. I don't want to say too much, do I?
No, just to say that the cautions have all been fairly brief. That's what I was going to add to that.
Yes.
There have been 6 of them, but they've been much more condensed than usual. Carry on with your thought, though, please.
No. Well, 234 laps done now. As I say, we're trying to break the 1982 record, which is 775 laps.
775 is the magic number, then, is it?
Yes,
okay.
776. It's difficult because it wasn't exactly the same configuration of Daytona in 82. But
so in terms of what we're looking at here is not a distance record, is not a lap number record. We're looking at an amount of distance travelled record, is what you're saying.
Correct. And I'll work out how far we need to go.
Okay.
Since the track changed in 85, the longest race was in 1992. So it's 82 outright and 92 on this configuration. So pretty easy to remember. Anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves, really. Johannes van Overbeek scored as the race leader as they go through this time around. That's because Tony Kanaan has come in, Jeremy.
And Shea is down there.
Yeah, the O2 comes to a stop in his pit box. Does not appear to be a driver change, although they are putting 4 new Continentals onto the O2. Tony Kanaan would be a happy man to know that that's coming. The 90 has also come in for their pit stop. There will be no driver change for them, though, because I saw Ryan Hunter-Reay standing in the back of their garage about 2 minutes ago. He was not suited and booted and ready to go. The O2 is already back out, so there goes Tony Kanaan. And in the immediate future, as in within a lap, we are going to have the number 3 Corvette because we have gone full course caution. These guys were planning to do their pit stop before, but did not make it in ahead of time. Jan Magnussen is standing on the pit wall. Great job by the 02 and the 90 to get their stops done early.
It's the Western Horseshoe where the problem is. I just saw the flashing yellow there for a local yellow before the full course came out. It's a long way for my eyes, and even with binoculars, I think it's a Viper. Yeah, I said that to Shea. I can't tell you which one it is, but it's definitely, it's the 93 car, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the 93 car with the darker side stripe.
Sides, yeah.
So who is in that car? That car was well up. I think it was in the top 3 when Damien Faulkner was driving it. And it's Eric Voss behind the wheel, the man who did such a great job in the Continental Tyres race on Friday here. And it looks like...
was in the top 6.
Yeah, it looks like, is there a left rear problem there? He looks like he's gone in sideways. The Porsche Cayenne.
Pretty much straight in, hasn't he?
He's gone in sideways, Jeremy.
I mean, very early in the corner.
Oh, sorry, yes. No, you're absolutely right. It looks like he swapped ends under braking. If I'm reading the tyre marks right that I can see on the screen and from here. So it looks like he's gone in, braked, and either locked it up on a downshift, or he's maybe, well, you don't heel and toe on those, but there's some very, very black and straight rubber marks before they peel off into a bit of a spin left-handed. He's gone in right-hand side first into the tyres.
So you think these marks here are from the Viper? So yes, it's pitched left, hasn't it, where it should be going right, and bounced off the tyre wall, but also kind of moved further to the right as well, so the impact in the tyres has sent it further back.
I think we're hearing it's the 33, which would leave it with Ben Keating behind the wheel. Shea, can you shed some light on this?
I think it's the 33 because the 93 came through the tri-oval about 30 seconds ago.
Joe Bradley.
Call me detective, but everybody's disappeared from the 33 Viper pit. So in difference to the 93, which is full of people ready with tyres. So yeah, I would deduce that is indeed the 33 that's off. And into the dark. It's all dark in that runoff, isn't it?
And the brilliant rooftop rear picked up the 93 for the 93 for us to prove that indeed is the case. the rescue vehicles are on site. In fact, they are based at that corner, and I think the car is moving. Under tow? Well, no, the flatbed, the rollback, if you will, is towing the car. There's light damage to the right-hand side. Yes, now I can see the green stripes, of course. It all becomes very clear, but in the darkness out there, it wasn't. I apologise to everyone in the 93 pit who I undoubtedly panicked into radio messaging poor Eric Voss. So it's Ben Keating that's put that car into the tyres, but it is coming back through the infield, and I would expect to see that fairly shortly. This is our 7th full course caution of the race, Jeremy.
Indeed so, yes. And we had 36 minutes of, less than that before, since the previous green. So since the previous caution period, not sure when it went green, to be honest. Only about 20 minutes worth of racing, I think.
Yeah.
Is this a quicker yellow then?
If it's under half an hour, it could be, yes.
Yeah, I think it probably is.
Now, the issue is that it's very busy on the infield, and trying to tow a stricken car through that is not going to be the easiest of things.
Crazy busy through there.
I need a two-wheeler next year. The golf cart is lovely, but I definitely need something a little narrower.
So I tell you, the timing of this caution incredibly good for the number 02 and number 90 car that came in moments before this caution period came out. So I think everybody else is going to be coming in under this caution period. So that's going to give a goodly advantage to the 02 and number 90.
Yeah. See who's got the most to gain in terms of when they were last in. Leader was last in on lap 2:11. So, hang on a second. How?
Yes,
Oh, yes, Van Overbeek went through, yes, of course, on Prio, but Tony Kanaan just stopped just before the yellow.
Yeah, they were due stop
Correct.
pretty quickly. So
the question is, and this is a question that I don't think we can answer, but I'll ask the pit lane crew anyway, is did Tony Kanaan get in and out before the pits were closed? Something that we'll try and find. Shea says that she believes they did. And we start the pit stop. Shea, you're into the pit lane first.
We've got the 10 Konica Minolta car. Wayne Taylor Racing pulls to a stop right in front of me. They are going to do 4 new tires, but no driver change. We've got the 01, it looks like, has also come in. The driver door is open. I would imagine there would be a driver change there. But the 10's pit stop going pretty flawlessly as they're putting the last of the tires on. There's a big white scrape mark down the front left of that car. Ricky goes back out.
And the number 2, aptly in second place, the ASM Ligier that is also in. It's still in. It's getting a full service. The fueling just being done. Not quite sure what's going on down there. There's nothing really stopping the car leaving its pit apron. There's some attention being done to the cockpit. Right now in front of me is the 26 PC car. That's blocking me getting down to see what's happening with the ASM car. But right now we've got a queue of traffic waiting for the go-ahead to leave.
The 38 has come in, and it will be Kyle Marcelli turning his first laps in the Performance Tech PC car. Keep an eye on him, though. He got 3 wins at the end of 2014 driving a prototype. He knows how to handle these, and he was brought in to be the quick shoe. They want him in during the middle of the night to put in some fast times. Joe?
The second place ASM car has left, and it's left behind right on the pit apron. Right in front of it was the number 50 Highway to Help car. Dorsey Schroeder is taking over that car. And the veterans continue. They are currently in 10th place, I believe, overall.
It's Joe Shea. They are 10th in category, perhaps, Joe. Yeah. Tony Kanaan and Johannes Van Overbeek, the 02 and the 2, are leading. Andy Prio's dropped down to 8th position as he took the pit stop. Well, that worked well for the 02 car. They have really looked into that one. You're listening to 107.9 around the circuit, around the world on the IMSA app and our affiliated websites, IMSA.com, RadioLeMans.com, and of course on XM Sirius as well. Good to have your company wherever you are, whether you're here at the circuit or further afield. And still a hardy and good number of people in front of us. Good evening to you all. Looking down with pretty much the same view as us, feet up, enjoying what has been so far an enthralling Rolex 24 Hours for 2016. Still over 16 and a quarter hours to go. 7 hours and 45 minutes into this contest, Johnny.
Yep, and in a moment or two, there will be a bit of some cars getting laps back, we think, unless this is within the designated time, where that doesn't happen, I suppose. It was a relatively short green flag run as the GT cars work their way now through turn 4 on the main speedway, so I expect an awful lot of GTLM cars to work their way below the double yellow line, and plenty are doing that right now. 4, 5, 6 takers, but equally some of them are staying out as well and deciding that this yellow period is not the time to pit.
No, I think we're going to see most of the GTLM leaders in.
Okay.
Right, the Ford has steered out. He's trying to get a lap back, and that is the 67 car. But pretty much everybody who is in the leading group will be coming down the pit lane. Let's start once again with Shea Adam, who already has picked callers.
Yeah, Magnussen has already climbed inside the number 3. Rocky's walked away as the crew guys for the Corvette who won the ALMS Best Pit Crew Award so many times, proving yet again why they deserve it. And the 3-car service is almost done. The 4-car service is almost done. They're ready to go.
And I'm in Ferrari land. The 62 Ricci Ferrari, you will hear, just moving out of its pit box, having got a full set of tyres and refuel. Driver stays on board though, and all around me, the 73 Porsche right alongside me. That's currently in 4th place in class, in the GTD class. That car just being refueled, and just up ahead of that is the number 93 Dodge Viper. Oh, and settled with the 73 car right into the path of the 23 Alex Job Porsche. But they didn't come together. In fact, it's a drag race to pit out. Who's won? It's the Alex Job car. 23 wins the drag race.
On the pit lane speed limit, yes, Joe, thank you very much indeed. Getting very, very tight at pit lane exit. We'll wait for the field to sort themselves out and give you the winners and losers there. They all look pretty decent pit stops. It really, I mean, if you have a long pit stop, it doesn't matter if you don't lose a position, but have a long pit stop when everybody's in like that, Johnny, you can lose a handful of positions in the blink of an eye.
Well, yeah, because, you know, everybody around you is coming in together with your stop, so you have to make it count and make sure it's like clockwork. Augusto Farfus, who was the 8th placed GTLM car, stayed out in the number 25 BMW M6, so will take up the lead for the moment. Daniel Serra stayed out in the number 68 Ferrari.
He was a lap off the pace, Farfus.
Okay, so won't take the lead, beg your pardon.
So he'll get back on the lead lap.
He'll get back on the lead lap, so that's why he stayed out, isn't it?
Yep.
Correct.
And the same reason for Spencer Pigot in car number 55. I think he's going to get another lap back here, because he's right behind the safety car, I believe, at the moment. And so he will get the pass around before we go back to green. Again, for those of you not familiar with the rules here, we had the wave around once we went to caution, whereby anybody between the safety car and the class leader is able to cycle on around and move to the back of that same lap as the class leaders. And once the pit stops are completed, anybody again between the safety car and the class leader can do the same thing. So with Spencer Pigot not stopping with car number 55, he was able to get ahead of the drivers, the cars that did make a pit stop, and now he will get the pass around before we go back to green. There he gets it right now. The pass around signal is given, so he will now really put the hammer down and try and catch up to the back of the pack before we go back to green, John. And that will mean that 55 car, forgive me, is just 1 lap now off the pace.
Yeah, they've done a really good job using the caution periods. Let's head down to the pit lane. It's Joe Bradley down there with, well, speaking to someone of the same era, Joe, for once.
I actually think I'm slightly older. Happy birthday for midnight, I think is the term. Just in case I don't see you, David. Just out of the number 50 Highway to Help car. David, we've been speculating as just to how chaotic it's been on the restarts, but I saw one particular restart. You were right in the thick of it.
It's absolutely intense. I've never seen anything like this. I mean, it's a lot of fun, but it is intense, and you've got to have your wits around you all the time. I mean, 4-5 wide going into 1, people banging on each other. It's absolutely amazing to be that close as a spectator, you know, in the car behind them. It's really cool.
No, mate, you're not a spectator. You're actually competing out there.
I know, I'm spectating these guys hitting each other, I guess.
Yeah. So tell us about the 50 car. You guys are 10th in class so far, and I'm sure you lot will be happy with that.
Yeah, no, we're moving up. We had some issues at the start, but I think when I got in, we were 39th, and now we're up into like 29th, so we're going in the right direction.
I think we might be going back to green soon, David, so in case I don't see you, once again, happy birthday, and I'll go and let you have a lie down after that lot.
All right, Joe, thank you.
David Hinton, who celebrates his birthday tomorrow morning, as Joe rightly says. The over 50s car, he's an interloper. He's only in his 40s, isn't he? 47. He'll turn 47 tomorrow, is that right?
Yeah, in about half an hour, whatever it is.
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 10:30 here. I'll give you a quick rundown before I slip off for a break. Tony Kanaan is leading in the 0-2 car from Mark Goosens in the 9-0 car and Oz Negri in the 6-0. And to keep the 0 theme going, the 1-0, the 10 of Ricky Taylor is in 4th position. Felipe Albuquerque in 5th in the number 5 Action Express car. 31, their teammate, in 6th position as the Mazda number 55 comes in for Spencer Piggott, trying to get their pit stop done before we go back green. The 0-1 of Andy Prio is down in 7th, and Johannes van Overbeek is in 8th position. They got caught on the wrong side of that yellow, didn't they, for the green flag pit stops that were done earlier on. In GTLM, it's now Corvette that leads. Jan Magnussen in the number 3 ahead of Earl Bamber in the 912 Porsche and the 911 of Kevin Estre. So Shea was entirely right. The Pratt & Miller guys turning around that car very quickly indeed. Ollie Gavin's in 4th in the number 4 Corvette, with Tony Vielander in 5th in the 62 Ricci Ferrari. Colonel Whitmer in the BMW number 100 in 6th. James Collado in 7th in the 72 SMP Ferrari. Augusto Farfus in the BMW in 8th position, and they are all on the lead lap.
That's exactly a huge shuffle around in the order there in GTL.
And that was all down to pit stops.
Yes, it was. I mean, they came in the order 912, 3, 911, 100, 72, 4, and 62. You're not going to remember this probably, but they came out the order 3, 9, 12, so they changed positions. 911 remained in 3rd. The 4 car made up 2 positions. Number 62 car made up 2 positions, and numbers 100 and 72 both lost 2 positions. So big shuffle around there.
Mirko Bortolotti leads GTD for Paul Miller Racing. They've had that lead for quite some time now. Rene Rast in 2nd position in the 44. Magnus Audi in 2nd. Wolf Hensler has jumped into the 23. Team Seattle Heart of Racing Porsche in 3rd, ahead of Norbert Siedler in the 73 in 4th position. That's a good fight back for the 73 team,
isn't it? Because they had problems earlier on, didn't they? And that car's been fast all week in a wet and a dry. And Norbert Siedler, he was he quickest in qualifying in that car? I think he was, wasn't he? Pretty sure he was. So they moved themselves right up into the top 4 now. Andrew Davis there, Stevenson Motorsports. What a great job they're doing there in the 5th position. And then the Aston Martin, Richie Stadaway, Nicky Katzberg in the Porsche. And here we go back to green.
And down towards the first corner once again. We are back at it, and once again it's the midfield where we have to keep our eyes very much peeled. Oz Negri trying to pick his way through, but he's lost a position as Ricky Taylor has mugged him on the restart. The outside of turn 1 is not normally an overtaking manoeuvre, but Taylor's made that work, and he all wide ahead of him. That is another position, is it? I think that's Tony Kanaan that's gone wide. That was the leader at the restart, and Kanaan has dropped back into the clutches of Goosens and Negri, and Ricky Taylor behind him as they go down towards the West Horseshoe. Now, is that Andy Prio is among? No, they're all in the same lap, so that must indeed be the Ford has dropped back. So again, the leader at the restart, Johnny, has been really disadvantaged, and through has gone Mark Goosens.
Yeah, there he goes up onto the top of the banking, out of turn number 6, and for whatever reason, Tony Kanaan could not match the pace of Mark Goosens as they got back underway at the end of 240 laps in this first bit of green, and here comes Oz Negri in the number 60 car, getting a great run off turn 2 on the main speedway. Did not take him too long at all to get by Tony Kanaan. The front brake rotors glowing red hot there into the bus stop, and the 60 car looking a bit more at it than the big Riley, powered by that Ford EcoBoost engine. But Tony Kanaan just taking his time to wind things up. I'm sure he'll have something to give back to Goossens and Oz Negri in the next few laps.
So that number 90 car, that will be the 9th. No, that's it's number 10 car, isn't it, leading the race? Ricky Taylor. Oh, he came from 4th to 1st. That's impressive. But it's the first time that, so we've got a 9th different leader in this race. Ricky Taylor, what a fantastic restart to vault his way from 4th position to 1st on that first green flag lap, Johnny. Great move by him. Ozzy Negri in 2nd place, then Tony Kanaan down to 3rd, and Mark Goossens in 4th place. All changed there.
Very, very much so, yeah. So Ricky Taylor not hanging around at all to get ahead of Tony Kanaan, and Oz Negri joining him up at the front. And it'll be interesting to watch now Tony Kanaan and the reply that he's possibly got to offer. So Goossens just tucked in behind, isn't he, in the 90 car, the visitflorida.com machine. And then it's the 5 of Philippe Albuquerque, Portuguese driver, joining his compatriot João Barbosa at the Action Express Racing team this weekend. And Philippe Albuquerque not wasting any time up onto the banking this time around. He's closing in on Mark Goossens. The number 90 car trying to pedal as quickly as he can down the back straight. Into the bus stop they go this time, and the 5 car hammering the curbs there. Philippe Albuquerque, much better run through the bus stop. So what's the exit speed like for the 5 machine? Neck and neck, I'd say, as they head through turns 3 and 4 on the main oval. Meanwhile, up at the front, here comes the 60 of Oz Negri, and Negri's got the run on race leader Ricky Taylor and makes sweet work of him there, ducking up the inside through the tri-oval. It's Taylor on the outside trying to repay the favour down the outside into turn number 1. That did not work, so it's Ricky Taylor that has to sit in the draft now of Oz Negri. So Negri back to the front in the number 60 Michael Shank Racing Ligier. And Shea Adam reports the 33 car, thank you Shea, is now returning to the race. That's the Dodge Viper that we lost down at the West Horseshoe. Remember, it returned to the paddock on the end of a tow rope. Well, the 33 clearly not that badly damaged. We thought that it had had a big hit into the tyre wall. That is the side that connected with the 3 deep rubber down at the West Horseshoe. But the guys running that Dodge have checked it all out, and down it goes down the pit lane to rejoin the race, Jeremy.
Yeah, that's our 23rd lead change now. Ricky Taylor led for just that one lap, lap 241. Ozzy Negri back in front now on lap 242. And but what a great battle it is behind a whole string of cars there, prototype cars. And it's the same in GT as well, with number 912 car Earl Bamber having regained the lead there after the restart from Jan Magnussen. Oliver Gavin right hanging in there in 3rd place, so he also has got past the Kevin Estre has lost several places on that restart lap. He's down to 6th place in the class in car number 911.
What's happening in GTLM? It's Earl Bamber, the 912 car, that's got ahead now of Jan Magnussen in the number 3 Corvette. And the 62 Tony Villander driven Ferrari has must have got by James Collado, because he's now nibbling at the heels of Ollie Gavin. So Villander up to 4th place in class and trying to snatch 3rd position from the man from Yardley Hastings in the 2nd of the big Chevrolet Corvettes. Jan Magnussen is 2nd position then for Chevy, and Collado takes the place. That's the 72 car, so Villander, actually Collado hasn't lost a position on Villander. It's Collado that's gained a spot into 3rd. Gavin runs 4th, and then it's Villander in 5th position. So the battle is on for 4th and 5th into the International Horseshoe. The 62 all red Ferrari, the 488 GTE closing in under braking on Ollie Gavin. Tucked in behind then is Kevin Estre in the 911 car. And 62 and 911 nose to tail up to the West Horseshoe now, with tucked in behind them the first of the BMW M6s. That's the 100 driven by Canadian Kuno Whitmer. And Augusto Farfus did get that lap back again, running in 8th position in the 25 car, 8th place in GTLM, as the fight in GTs works its way back onto the banking out of turn number 6, joined once more by Graham Goodwin, editor of dailysportscar.com. And it's kind of where we were when you last were in the booth, Graham.
It is kind of reset deja vu time again. It does seem to run like this, but fantastic action out there, and it has been from the off, hasn't it, really? And what I should say, really, is this is not a race that in any way has been spoiled by yellow flags.
No, I would
because
agree.
what we've really had is a slight reset of action that was already happening. A couple of little bit of sort of updates from the paddock, I think, and I stand to be corrected. I think it's unlikely we're going to see very much more Jordan Taylor in this race.
No, we're not. I saw Ricky about an hour ago.
Yep.
Jordan about an hour ago, and he told me he's not planning on driving again in this race. He wasn't planning. He was planning just to do the one lap to make sure he scored a championship point, because he is nominated for the full season along with his brother Ricky. As long as he drives a lap, that's good for the points. But when he got in the car, he felt good enough to be able to run that stint. But that's all he's planning to do. He's been unwell for the last couple of weeks. Had a virus infection. Not quite sure what it is actually. Which
some
is
kind
worrying.
of sore throat.
Well, the throat's just come on the last day or so. He was telling me. So that's why I was steering clear of him.
It's a wise decision for
Yes,
Jordan.
it is. He's just feeling really weak.
Yeah.
But did a good job. It looked obviously upbeat and positive, and focusing on now on the rest of that team.
The other bit of information is we've been wondering about the pace of the BR01, the SMP racing car 37. That was the car, guys, that Jeremy, you remember very clearly, you spotted losing its Nissan V8 unusually and spectacularly in the final free practice session. New engine was fitted quickly. That is, though, I'm afraid, not the freshest of Nissan V8s. So I think the guys are actually running down on power and looking after that engine. It was intended that the original unit was going to be their race engine, brand new, and unfortunately that's not gone to plan. That's almost certainly why we're seeing them not able to respond to the kind of pace that we've seen at the front of the field. Johnny?
Yeah, still enthralled by the battle involving two Chevrolet Corvettes, and sandwiched between them is James Collado in the SMP Racing Ferrari, the number 72. So Collado has made short work of Ollie Gavin and is now closing in on Jan Magnussen. They head through the tri-oval and into the braking area, swinging off the banking, and Collado looks to the inside. And, well, Jan Magnussen, I think, saw him coming and was able to slam the door shut in Collado's face at the very last moment. But Collado did see the door open there, and he's going to draw level round the outside. Now, we have seen Verlander pull off a move in the 62 round the outside at the International Horseshoe. Wasn't quite silhouetting the Chevrolet Corvette, though. Didn't have front wheels level with front wheels at that point. He was about halfway along the door of Jan Magnussen. And Ollie Gavin, of course, could take advantage of Collado if it's an effort that doesn't quite come off for the Brit. That might give Ollie Gavin another chance to get back into third position.
Yeah, really tight battle, isn't it? But again, Earl Bamber has checked out in front. He's 4.7 seconds ahead. I mean, he was behind the Corvette of Jan Magnussen at the restart, and he's now 4.7 seconds ahead in, 5 laps. So he is absolutely flying out front. The Porsches, they've been playing it very, very cool, haven't they, Graham Goodwin?
They have, and they keep emerging back at the front of the field. The top 6 cars, I think it's 7 cars within 6.5 seconds of each other. But this GTLM battle we expect to be good. I'm not quite sure we expect it to be quite this good. Word for James Collado. There, I think we have, gentlemen, one of the new superstars of GT racing. A man who really made his name in single-seater racing, shifted across with the offer of a Ferrari factory drive, has been, I think, promoted to the 51 car in the World Endurance Championship alongside double world champion Jimmy Bruni, and boy is he repaying that investment with these kind of performances at the wheel of the brand new Ferrari 488.
Let's hand down to our Continental Tyre pit lane crew. And Shay Adam, you're seeing a stop at your end of the pit lane.
Yeah, the 68 just came in and changed right side tires only. So the Michelins on that side were less than perfect by the time it came back. And as a matter of fact, the right rear was, well, to say flat would be a bit of an exaggeration because there's not a whole lot of tread left there. That had to be a pretty severe puncture.
Pounding the paddock, patrolling the pits. The Continental Tyre Pit Lane team on IMSA Radio. The WeatherTech Sports Car Championship on IMSA Radio.
And it is the Rolex 24, the 54th edition of the Rolex 24 at Daytona International Speedway. IMSA Radio for 2016 and the WeatherTech United Sports Car Championship. We're under caution once more after only 11.5 minutes of running. Thank you to Shay for the latest from the pits there, and also to tell us that we are under caution. And exactly why, Graham Goodwin, do we know yet?
Not anything I can spot just this second. Just to see whether or not we can pick it up. I'm sure our friend Rooftop Ray. There is a wrecker leaving heading 3. Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on where that's heading for.
Well, one man that might be able to shed a little bit of light on it is Joe Bradley.
Well, I'm going to assume something, and you know what assuming does.
I do.
I'm not going to spell it
very
out.
much.
I'm just happened to be in the Conrad Motorsport pit, and all of a sudden, the crew of I think the 21 car, sorry, have gathered the jack stands and the air guns and gone disappearing out the back.
Right.
Now that might be that the number 21 Lamborghini has come to a halt somewhere and is being recovered. Franz Conrad himself has disappeared with the wheel gun, and you know how hands-on Franz is. So again, I'm just assuming, yet to be confirmed, but I would think that's probably very likely.
I think it's in turn 1, guys. The wrecker we saw leaving turn 3 has taken the cut through. He's now going to the outside of turn 1. It's one of the tiniest parts of the circuit that are just outside our sight. To give you an idea where I'm talking about, it's almost exactly the same area of the circuit where Andy Merrick and the Delta Wing met the sticky end, I'm afraid, for the valiant efforts of the Zero car. But that wrecker has disappeared out of our sight behind the timing tower on the outside of turn 1.
Yeah, I popped into the media room a bit further down from our commentary box just before this stint, and there were plenty of spotters in there. But it's a great point you make about the fact that you can't really see the middle of turn 1. That's where all the spotters sit. It was quite understandable. They didn't know there was a PC car there for Andy Merrick's incident. We won't kind of go on about that a great deal, but you know, it's very easy for a spotter to miss that whole.
No, they
whole
did
thing.
know. Timmy Keane was on the phone to on the radio to Andy Merrick, quote unquote, all the way down the pit straight.
About the PC car, though.
About
right.
the car stuck in the middle of the
track.
track.
Fair enough. Well, it was a communication issue then.
Indeed.
You would think, and the message
Andy
didn't
said
get
he
through.
never heard him.
There you go. Okay. Well,
very unfortunate.
I know.
Very unfortunate.
The connection was remade when Merrick was clambering out of the car because he wanted to know why.
Though, can we?
We can't say that we've got one vehicle making its way back to the holding area on the outside of the International Horseshoe, but the wrecker has disappeared out of our sight and stayed there.
Interesting.